All right, y'all, my name is Zev. I'm a co-chair of the Tacoma Democratic Socialists of America, and I'm going to be your MC for today. Let's do one more chant to keep that energy up. All right, y'all. When I say brick by brick, wall by wall, you say we will make the system fall. Brick by brick, wall by wall.
We will make the system fall.
Brick by brick, wall by wall.
We will make the system fall.
Brick by brick, wall by wall.
We will make the system fall.
No boots on the ground, no bombs in the air.
U.S. out of everywhere.
No boots on the ground, no bombs in the air.
U.S. out of everywhere.
Thank you all so much for being here today. It's a beautiful day to fight against U.S. imperialism, war in Lebanon, genocide in Palestine, the invasion of Lebanon, the wiping out of villages. We must stand together always as an international working class against exploitation, against imperialism everywhere. So we are getting started today with a land acknowledgement from our comrade Carol from Cass. Carol, do you want to join us?
Oxlahale. We stand in solidarity with the Puyallup, Nisqually, Coast Salish, and all indigenous people who have stewarded these lands since time immemorial and continue to do today. We uplift indigenous voices within our community. We support national development for indigenous people. We honor the multitudes of indigenous identity, including queer, two-spirit, brown, and black people. Many of their ancestors were abducted and enslaved by a system that continues to this day. Okay. Under the 13th Amendment, we demand reparations. We demand an end to oncoming genocides. We demand the return of land, the land that we're standing on. And natural resources. We cannot revitalize ecosystems worldwide without indigenous sovereignty and climate justice. From Puyallup to Palestine, Iran, and Lebanon.
All right, thank you so much, Carol. It's so important that we uphold the fight for self-determination of all people and from Iran to here at home on Coast Salish land and Puyallup land. Thank you so much. Our next speaker is Sumu from Freedom Road. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. A little unclear. We're going back to Carol.
Hi, again, I'm Carol. I've been doing this for 60 years, and I'm with the Climate Alliance of the South Sound. It's clear over decades of conflict in the Middle East, most recently the unprovoked war against Iran, that the U.S. war machine doesn't differentiate in their quest to dominate. They destroy everything, people and the environment, as long as it generates profit. People aren't separate from the environment. We are part of the environment. Shame! Shame! The environmental cost of this destruction cannot be ignored. The Trump administration tells us this war is going smoothly, that their aggression aids people here. But rising prices and worsening climate change prove how needless this conflict is for the average working person. We, the people, don't benefit from this war. People are sent away from their families to die, so the rich get richer. Shame. Money for jobs and education, not for war and devastation. The U.S. learned its tactics of destruction right here on local soil in Tacoma through the violent expulsion of Coast Salish people and Native Americans all over this country. It's clear the connection between workers, indigenous people, and the environment is tied to the same struggle of the people in Tacoma and Iran. We share a common enemy, the war profiteers who get rich off our suffering. Despite the U.S. attempt to destroy Iranian sovereignty, Iran has been resolute in fighting the U.S.-led aggression. Iran fought for and won ceasefire demands for Lebanon and Palestine, which were immediately violated by the belligerent Israeli government. Iran understands the importance of indigenous solidarity. We believe in this indigenous sovereignty too, from Puyallup to Palestine to Iran and all oppressed nations. The U.S. depends on exploiting Native American land, labor, and lives here to fuel the war machine abroad. Multinational companies like PSE LNG and the Geo Group down the road profit from these evil wars. Indigenous people in the U.S. share a common enemy with Palestinians and Iranians too. Our fights are connected. When we fight for better conditions here in Tacoma, it strikes blows against our common enemies. We at CAS are fighting today for a community-controlled climate commission to improve the lives of our community in Tacoma and in solidarity with indigenous struggles everywhere. Climate justice requires indigenous sovereignty in Iran, in Palestine, and in the U.S. Get off your phones and take to the street. We have 2 weeks while a dead Congress is on vacation, while there's a quote-unquote ceasefire to do something. We at CAS are holding an Earth Day March next Saturday, April 18th at 1 p.m., starting in Point Defiance Park, 5715 Roberts Garden Drive. It's inconvenient, but so is being bombed. So is being starved to death. So is being transported to death camps. There is nothing more important in your lives. System change, not climate change. Please chant this. System change, not climate change.
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 Thank you so much, Carol. 2 for 2. Let's give it a couple more for Carol. System change, not climate change.
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 All right, thank you again to Carol. All right, we're going to hear from our next speaker, Sumit from Freedom Road.
Hello, everybody. I am Sumit. I am an immigrant rights organizer with the Pierce County Immigration Alliance. I am a Punjabi woman from an immigrant family, and I'm also a proud revolutionary with the Freedom Road Socialist Organization. I am here today, like so many of you, because I am angry. Are you angry? Yeah, I said, are you angry? Well, I am angry too, but I am not defeated. The United States and Israel are waging an unjust, unprovoked war on Iran, leading to widespread civilian casualties, including school children. Shame. But this war did not just start in 2026. It started long before the bombs and the missiles sent by Trump and Netanyahu. For decades, the U.S. has been interfering in the affairs of the people of Iran, appointing puppets for Western imperialism to secure the interests of ExxonMobil, BP, and Shell. The U.S. has waged a decades-long sanctions regime to create instability and poverty. However, time and time again, Iran has proven it will not be demolished. Iran has withstood the forces of Western imperialism. After the U.S. and Israel's attack, Iran closed the Strait of Hormuz, stating they would reopen once their 10 demands for a ceasefire were met, including lifting the sanctions, ending the war on all fronts, including Lebanon, getting reparations and compensation for the damage to Iran, and more. Yesterday, Trump made threats of ending Iranian civilization if they did not submit to imperialist interests. Shame! Yet Iran continues to chart an independent course as it protects its sovereignty. Did Trump carry out this threat? No, he did not. Trump's reckless actions have weakened the U.S.'s position, which forced him into accepting Iran's demands. Trump will continue to face more defeat and more failure in his attempts to preserve the dying U.S. empire. In the 12-day war, did Iran submit? No. The Iranian people will not live under U.S. domination and will stay standing. Despite Trump's capitulation to Iran's demands, Israel broke the ceasefire only hours into the agreement. In the deadliest day of the war yet, Israel's missile strikes killed over 250 people in Lebanon and injured thousands more. Shame. This is what Israel does. They break ceasefire agreements just like they did in Gaza, and they murder civilians. Israel has forfeited any right to legitimacy. In Freedom Road, we say that Israel exists on stolen land and borrowed time. Palestine will be free. Say it with me. From the river to the sea.
Palestine will be free.
From the river to the sea.
Palestine will be free.
In Freedom Road, we are proud to stand in unconditional solidarity with Iran and the axis of resistance. Any nation that fights for their liberation from U.S. imperialism deserves our solidarity in their struggle. This means unequivocally that we want Iran to win. The working people of the United States, just as the people of Iran, have nothing to gain from Trump's war crimes. Our gas prices are skyrocketing. Our people are going without food, without housing, without health care, without medicine, while our tax dollars go to equipping Israel with more weapons of destruction. In fact, Iran has shown us that we share a common enemy. The bosses that exploit us at work are the same class of people profiting from the weapon sales, sending our siblings to die in foreign wars in the pursuit of oil. Is that right? No, it is not. Shame. Our true enemy is U.S. imperialism. We must put an end to this system by any means necessary. So how are we going to do that? Just as Iran has remained steadfast and united, we will create a strong united front against Trump and U.S. imperialism. We need to go all out, unite all who can be united to end the war on Iran and the Middle East. Trump wants a regime change. Yeah, well, so do we, but not in Iran. We want regime change in this country. And we are building a militant, revolutionary political party capable of ending this imperialist regime and putting the multinational working class in power by any means necessary. So join the Freedom Road Socialist Organization in our united front, because the people united will never be defeated.
Yeah, not only has the U.S. absolutely failed in their attempts at regime change in Iran, but this war has led to major defeats, losing U.S. military bases all around the region, a massive wave of decolonization, and we must continue to support efforts to stand against U.S. incursions into the region. So this one isn't on the chant sheet, but we're going to try it out. When I say Iran, Yemen, make us proud, you say turn another ship around. Iran, Yemen, make us proud.
Turn another ship around.
Iran, Yemen, make us proud.
Turn another ship around.
Iran, Yemen, make us proud.
Turn another ship around.
Iran, Yemen, make us proud.
Turn another ship
All right, thank you. Next on our list, please welcome Dr. Breck Lebague. Sorry, Bague.
Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity to be here. I'm Dr. Breck Lebague. I'm the chair of the Climate and Health Group from Washington Physicians for Social Responsibility. I'm in this uniform now. Thank you. Washington Physicians for Social Responsibility started 65 years ago as an anti-nuclear weapons group. And we still do that work. It's very important work, as you may know. You can see I'm an old guy. My first anti-war rally was over 50 years ago on a university campus following the draft for the Vietnam War. I'm going to make it personal. If you are a male between the age of 18 and 25, you may not know what our government just did a week ago. I'm going to read the headlines. I didn't know it. Listen, if you're a male between age of 18 and 25 or know anybody, quote, automatic registration for U.S. military draft to begin in December. Whoa. Yeah, listen. And thank you. Men between the ages of 18 and 25 are already required to register if you did or did not know. I'm asking for a show of hands. Of course not. But it's a crime not to register. Fine of $250,000 and up to 5 years in jail if you did not register. And so because so many people did not, our government is going to register for you using, quote, available federal data, end quote. Starts in December. Look it up. It's right there. I didn't know it either. Let me go back to my prepared remarks. I'm going to show you something. Can anybody see what that is? It's $1. What's wrong with it? It's half a dollar. I'll come back to that in a moment and talk about why that's important. I'm an Air Force flight surgeon, retired. For 30 years, I was the doc for pilots and aircrew in the Air Force. I swore to uphold and defend the Constitution back then. I retired 10 years ago. So I'm going to read the first words of the Constitution. You decide if it's still true today or not. Quote, we the people, all of us of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty for ourselves and posterity. It goes on to say we ordain and establish the Constitution. The document's coming up on 250 years old. We have to make that true. It doesn't stay true by itself. I oppose misuse of the U.S. military. I'm just going to say that, and I think it's going on. WPSR was founded on opposition to nuclear weapons, which could be the worst thing that would happen. And I don't know any doctors that think nuclear war is a great idea. Do any of you think nuclear war is a great idea? Let me hear it. No. So, there's a thing called the Personnel Reliability Program. Personnel Reliability Program means that there was a very strict medical and psychological assessment of any of those crew that had anything to do with nukes. And you know what? That's not required for our commander-in-chief. Let that sink in. Let that sink in. Everybody else has to follow very strict medical and mental health rules to have anything to do with nukes. And that's why U.S. Senator Mark Kelly was correct when he said on video that U.S. military members have the right to refuse to obey illegal orders. Look it up. Senator Mark Kelly and illegal orders. It's right there. It's only a minute and a half. It's worth you looking. I went to Hiroshima last year with my family. The Peace Memorial Museum saw photos of horrible nuclear injuries from the bomb. My family and I talked to hibakusha. Hibakusha is a Japanese word for Japanese kids who survived the bomb 80 years ago who are now adults. And I agree with WPSR, and I hope you agree with me. We must never, ever use nukes again. Can I hear it? No nukes? No nukes! No nukes! No nukes! Thank you. Oh, yeah, about that dollar bill. How are we going to pay for this war? What have you heard from the headlines about what our president wants for more money from us? How much more money? $1.5 trillion. $1.5 trillion, which is 500 billion more. No more money for the war. Does anybody want next week is tax day. Anybody want to send more money to the IRS to fund the war? No. How are they going to pay for it? How are they going to pay for it? They're going to print more of these. Literally print more of these. What happens then? It devalues the value of each one of these in your wallet. That's why the price of everything is and will keep going up. Keep going up. And it'll be more expensive. That's the economic effect for all of us together. So in closing, what I would ask you to do, more than just show up, which is great, more than chant, which is even greater, call or email your representatives. Who is it for Tacoma? I only heard one person who knew that. It's Marilyn Strickland. Strickland is our Tacoma representative. She takes APAC money. She takes APAC money. A lot of them take APAC money. So what are you going to do about that? Call her up and tell her you don't want to fund the war. Who are our senators? You got to learn them. Those are the people making the decisions for us. Cantwell and Murray, those are our senators. Call them up. Next week, there's a vote on the war resolutions bill in the Senate. The war resolutions bill in the Senate. Tell your senators you do not want to fund this war anymore. Thank you for listening. Thank you for coming out.
Thank you so much, Doctor. All right, y'all. Let's do a couple more chants. No boots on the ground, no bombs in the air. No boots on the ground, no bombs in the air. No boots on the ground, no bombs in the air. All right, thank you again to our friend the doctor. And next up we have Gianni from Malaya.
No boots on the ground, no bombs in the air. No boots on the ground, no bombs in the air. Thank you all for standing here in solidarity with the people of Iran. I'm Gianni. I'm from Malaya Movement Tacoma. We are a Filipino organization of Filipino Americans who fight for national democracy, sovereignty, and human rights for the Philippines. And we're proud to stand in solidarity with the people of Iran. Now, Malaya was founded. Oh, I'm also a member of the Tango Migrante movement. Full of Filipino organizations who fight for the rights and welfare and protect our Filipino migrants. Malaya was founded to mobilize Filipino Americans against the extrajudicial killings of then President Rodrigo Duterte. He used excuses of drug war and anti-terror, but these are really just excuses for corporate land grabbing, corruption, and repression of the people's movement. And it was that people's movement that rose up in the hundreds of thousands across the world and put Rodrigo Duterte in the International Criminal Court for trials this year. Now, I bring that up because those actions, the violence against the people in the name of anti-terror, in the name of defense, when it's really just a cover-up for corporate interests, is exactly what we're seeing Trump do in Iran, no? Trump's war comes as no surprise. The U.S. has always gladly funded and supplied the fascist regimes from the Philippines to the Zionist entity to strengthen its hold on these profitable resources, the oil in Iran and Venezuela, to control international trade, and the rare minerals and the labor in the Philippines to build the repressive military technology. The people here in the U.S., like all of you, and the people of the Philippines, cry out for an end to military aggression and for genuine services for the people. But in the midst of the housing and the medical crises here and the energy emergency in the Philippines, our governments show where their allegiances are. It's the capitalist class and its military. The Senate, as Dr. Lebague just said, the Senate passed last year $900 billion in the taxpayers' money for the defense budget and wants to increase that to $1.5 trillion. This always precipitates in more weapons, more troops, more bases abroad. And wherever these bases are, a culture of violence and impunity is close to follow. The U.S. bases in the Philippines are notorious for their violence and the disappearing of Filipino women in particular. And the economic insecurity that's caused by the corporate plunder leads Filipinas to enter into unequal and abusive relationships with U.S. soldiers just to escape the poverty of the homeland. When they migrate here, they're left dependent on these military men due to the fascist attacks on migrants here and the complete neglect from their own state, from the Philippine consulate. Shame! That's why as Malaya, we are launching our Defend Filipino Migrants campaign to work with the Filipino migrants who are here, who have suffered from the effects of U.S. militarism in the Philippines, and fight for a homeland that is safe and has economic opportunity so no one has to leave their homeland. So Malaya calls on all Filipinos across the world, once again, to stand together and oppose these unjust wars of aggression and extraction. We call for an end to the military aid to the Philippines, which inflicts violence upon Filipino women and strengthens the U.S. military's control in Southeast Asia. Let us unite with the people of Iran and all those oppressed by U.S. plunder to assert democracy, sovereignty, and services for our people, not military dictatorship. Now, if you want to join us, learn more, we are partnering with our allies in PUSO, the Philippine-U.S. Solidarity Organization, to study Philippine society and revolution. So join us on Saturday and learn more about how the Philippines' struggle for sovereignty and democracy can contribute to the worldwide struggle against imperialism. And also, in a few weeks, we're joining with Bayan, who will be speaking later, for a peace forum against the U.S. military aggression in Iran and in the Philippines, and protesting the Balikatan exercises, which the U.S. conducts along with the Philippines, armed forces of the Philippines. Thank you.
From Iran to the Philippines!
Stop the U.S. war machine!
From Iran to the Philippines!
Stop the U.S. war machine!
Thank you, y'all. Please welcome our next speaker from Indivisible, Phen.
I was told that I might be speaking in front of some of the finest people in Tacoma, so I got dressed up. But this isn't a beauty pageant. I don't have time for sugar-coated pleasantries. The situation is borked, plain and simple. Our fearless leader, the Tangerine Kenkelmeister himself, who, by the way, got himself hog-stomped with a tent stake on Epstein Island so bad that he can no longer control his bodily functions, has decided to play with fire. And now, he's burning the whole damn house down. He's got his tiny little hand on the nuclear button, and everyone here knows he's more than crazy enough to use it. Here's the thing. We can stand up and fight back and get together and show his lackeys and his puppet masters and he himself what we really think of his delusional power grab, or we can stand back and watch him dance YMCA as he destroys everything that we have worked so hard to build. This isn't just about politics anymore. It's about survival. Every day this insanity continues, the price of everything goes up, the cost of living goes up, and this affects everyone, but for low-income and minority communities, it hits like a 10-ton tanker truck full of jet fuel, which is also going up in price. We need to put an end to the Mad King's reign before he turns everything we have worked so hard for into radioactive dust. We must shackle fat cats who line their pockets with genocidal blood money. They don't care about war crimes or human lives, just the bottom line. Because it pads their wallets. They don't see us as worthy of existence. People like Peter Thiel and Elon Musk and Larry Ellison. Our so-called public servants are bought and paid for, dancing like trained circus poodles. Demand better. Hold them accountable. You have a voice and you need to use it. If you need to know how, you can go to Indivisible, Tacoma.net, or you can go to indivisible.org and get the simple instructions to use your voice. I encourage you all to do so. If we don't, they're just going to keep doing what they're doing. And we need to remind these people in public office that if they will not serve the people, then we will drive them out of office like the purchased cattle they are. Together, we will get through this. Together, we are strong, resilient. Together, we are indivisible, Tacoma.
All right, y'all. When I say something that you don't like, you say shut it down. U.S. imperialism. Shut it down. Wars for oil.
Shut it down.
Destabilization.
Shut it down.
Regime change.
Shut it down.
All right, y'all. We're going to welcome our next speaker, Lev from Bayan.
Magandang hapon. Good afternoon, everybody. It's so wonderful to see all of your faces out here on the streets responding to this urgent crisis. Again, my name is Levin. I'm with Bayan, Washington, and we are a statewide alliance and part of a national, not just national, but in the Philippines, alliance of progressive Filipino organizations fighting for national democracy in our homelands. And we, Filipinos, are outraged as we are fighting for our own sovereignty. We join all toiling peoples in opposing the attacks on Iran and Lebanon by U.S. and Israel. We condemn the assault on the Iranian people, the murder of children and families, and the many abhorrent war crimes that are inexhaustible that have been committed by this U.S. war machine. This issue is an issue for all Filipinos, and for me personally, I am a military brat that was born at Madigan Military Hospital at Joint Base Lewis McChord, and my father has been deployed 4 times to the Middle East. That is 4 times too many, and he shouldn't have to go into the service to be promised any form of stability in this country as a migrant.
That's right.
There is no stability for the Filipino people here or back home. That includes 2.4 million overseas contractual workers that are stuck in the Middle East, that 2 of which have also died, and the many who are no longer able to send funds back home to their families who are starving. That's shameful. It is outrageous that our people have been displaced all around the world to make sacrifices and to help make our lives that much incrementally better, but it's not better. We are displaced because the Philippines is a semi-colony with a backwards industry, and it is used today to serve the interests politically, economically, and militarily for the U.S. Like the rich resources of oil in Iran and Venezuela, the U.S. turns to the Philippines for its cheap labor, its agricultural products, and its strategic position encircling China as it rages its economic opposition and war against China. That's why this month, in April, even though there's an oil shortage in the Philippines, the Marcos and Trump administration are pushing forward military exercises like the Balikatan, like Salagnib, where thousands of troops and major missile machineries will be used for live fire exercises and training the armed forces of the Philippines. These exercises destroy the land and waters. They put out people of their jobs for weeks. They terrorize children. And it also ramps up the sexual violence against Filipino women around these military sites. And guess what? The troops, the Typhoon missile, those are deployed from Joint Base Lewis McChord. Do we want our taxpayer dollars to be used to deploy more weapons and troops around the world? No. Do we want families to be separated and starving to fill the pockets of war profiteers? No. Do we want the Philippines and other countries like Iran to be used as warfields for U.S. empire? No. That's why us as Filipinos, we not only stand in solidarity with our siblings fighting for land, for sovereignty, for basic economic livelihood, we are inherently determined to fight for our own freedom. In Washington State, this looks like fights to defend migrants and workers. This looks like canceling the Balikatan exercises and the deployment of these military weapons and troops from Joint Base Lewis McChord. And in the countryside, in the homelands, this looks like a revolutionary struggle that's been carried out for decades, fighting for the genuine industrialization and national sovereignty for all of our people so that we can return home. In advancing the national democratic revolution struggle, the Filipino people will contribute to the anti-imperialist struggle around the world by cutting off one of the tentacles of the U.S. empire and its war machine, as it has bases and troops all around the world. So for all of us looking for tangible action to take together, as our dear friend Yanni from Malaya said, we invite you to join us this Saturday, April 18th, in the evening at First United Methodist Church for a peace forum. We'll also be mobilizing on the 19th outside Joint Base Lewis McChord to call for the canceling of the Balikatan exercises and to demand the U.S. hands off of Iran, U.S. bases out of everywhere, and for the Filipino people to advance our struggle so that we can live another day without U.S. imperialism in our own backyard. And I'll just plug again, if you want to deepen and know more about what's going on in the Philippines, please also join the Philippine Society and Revolution study that's coming up this weekend. So please, again, see a friend in Malaya and Puso, and we look forward to seeing you there. With that, I'll close out with a chant. I was going to do a Tagalog one. Folks want to learn the Tagalog? Okay. So the English one goes, the people united will never be defeated. The people united will never be defeated. Okay, cool. Now the Tagalog goes, ang tao, ang bayan, na yon ay lumalaban. We'll practice it together. Ang tao, ang bayan, na yon ay lumalaban. Ang tao, ang bayan, na yon ay lumalaban. Great job. Thank you so much.
All right, y'all. So early this year, one of the Filipino solidarity activists, Comrade Chantal, was abducted by the U.S. regime. And I want to bring that up because a few months ago, we also had a rally right here at the Federal Building where we were chanting for Chantal's release. That has now happened. Chantal is free. And I think it highlights how victories against the empire, victories against these neo-colonial regimes are possible. So let's hear it for all of our friends from Bayan, from Malaya, from all the solidarity organizations who helped lead a victory on that issue. Of course, we have to fight to free everyone, right? So, next up, we have ILPS, our friend Katie. Please welcome Katie.
Tacoma! Make some noise if you want hands off Iran now! I said hands off Iran now! My name is Kay, and I am a proud member of the International League of People's Struggle, a global grassroots alliance waging anti-imperialist struggle for people all across the world. I am also a Starbucks worker and a proud union member who is appalled and disgusted by the war in Iran. It is not only workers who face the impacts of war, but also workers that hold the economic power to lead the fight against the war machine everywhere. The imperialist system has a ravenous appetite for war and will continue to ramp up its military spending. It feeds its profit-seeking interests while squeezing every last penny out of the working class to fund its attacks on the people domestically and abroad. While Trump and Netanyahu are prioritizing profits and gains from wars over the needs of the people, the Iranian people are fighting for national sovereignty. They are taking action in solidarity with the people of Palestine and Lebanon. The Iranian struggle in the defense of national sovereignty is deeply connected to the fight for a free Palestine Palestine. A free Palestine remains the defining fight that will end the Zionist entity's fascist expansionism for good. From the river to the sea.
Palestine will be free.
From the river to the sea.
Palestine will be free.
In times of war, when others get to flee, migrant workers have no choice but to continue working and putting their lives at risk. Just imagine having to work through aerial bombs being dropped around you. Imagine, under the pressure of poverty, making the impossible choice to work through war for hopes of feeding your families through the pains of separation and imperialist violence. No boots on the ground, no bombs in the air.
U.S. Arab everywhere.
The hardship of workers and the masses is directly linked to the deliberate warmongering by the U.S. Zionist fascist state. But look around you. People are already taking to the streets to protest. The people and the workers everywhere will not back down. Workers, I am calling on you to get organized and then have your organizations join ILPS. We've been on the ground coordinating at airports with the workers to successfully prevent deportations. We've been mobilizing to shut down the Defense Suppliers Summit in Seattle. And in Tacoma, we will be joining you all to protest the deployment of troops and weapons from the Joint Base Lewis McChord. We must continue to build a people's movement with workers at the core that can disrupt labor, profits, and strike blows against the war machine. Workers everywhere, build solidarity with nations and peoples fighting for sovereignty, self-determination, and national liberation. When Iran's rights are under attack, what do? When workers' rights are under attack, what do? When the people's rights are under attack, what do? Thank you.
When I say brick by brick, wall by wall, you say we will make the system fall. Brick by brick, wall by wall.
We will make the system fall.
Brick by brick, wall by wall.
We will make the system fall.
Brick by brick, wall by wall.
We will make the system fall.
Brick by brick, wall by wall.
We will make the system fall.
Thank you, friends. I want to welcome up my comrade from DSA, Crystal from our Anti-Imperialism Committee.
Hi, everyone. My name is Crystal, and I am the current chair of the newly formed Anti-Imperialism Committee for Tacoma DSA. My parents met on the picket line of Wayne State University in Detroit, Michigan. They both protested the Vietnam War, and the first time I was ever personally at a rally or protest, it was marching against the war in Iraq. They instilled in me the critical thinking to see what the United States is, what capitalism is, what imperialism has done and continues to do all over the world, from the Philippines and Asia, Palestine and the Middle East, Sudan and Africa, Ireland and Europe, to the Americas, North and South, right here, the very ground we stand on. United States imperialism has been interfering in Iran since the 70s and continued through the Clinton era of the 90s to now. Our country has worked to destroy the Iranian economy, empowering sanctioned profiteers, and more. The sins of our country, U.S. imperialism, in our name, has produced the very conditions that have led the Iranian people to stand up and protest. We must stand in solidarity with the working class people of Iran by standing in solidarity for their national sovereignty, free of United States interference. We must condemn the unprovoked U.S.-Israeli aggression and attacks that continue this imperialism and capitalistic exploitation-driven war. We must stand up to the brutal acts by our country, by our fellow citizens, the murder of children at a girls' elementary school, and all the other unjustifiable assaults on the people of Iran. From Cuba to Venezuela, from Iraq to Iran, we say no to foreign intervention, no to the U.S. war machine. From Palestine to Sudan to the Congo, we stand against genocide and with our fellow people, our brothers, our sisters, our siblings. We will not let them stand alone. Because you are all here with me today, I have a question. What do we do? Yes, fight back. We must stand in solidarity. We must stand in protest. We must stand up for others. And ultimately, that is standing up for ourselves because we are all human and we are all here together. Every action we take and don't take matters. The Anti-Imperialism Committee has an open letter that we are asking you to sign to send to our representatives in Congress to end the war in Iran. The link for that is going to be on Tacoma DSA socials soon. And I ask for everyone here, if you aren't part of one of the groups here today, join one. Ask the people and speakers here today about their organization. Sign up. Tacoma DSA has a general meeting every first Wednesday of the month at Common Good here in Tacoma. So that'll be May 6th. And you can also join online at dsa.org/join. And I say also to the people here, if you are a member of an organization and participate in rallies like this, to do more, go to your organization's next meeting. Volunteer, speak up, speak out, be uncomfortable. The world we want to see is possible, but we have to pursue it. We have to do the hard thing. We have to change. Okay, apparently it's sideways now, so we'll do a chant. From Iran to Palestine, stop our country's war crimes. From Venezuela to Iran, no more sanctions, no more bombs. From Iran to the Philippines, stop the U.S. war machine. Okay? So, from Iran to Palestine. From Venezuela to Iran, no more sanctions, no more bombs. From Iran to the Philippines, stop the U.S. war machine.
Thank you, Crystal. Everyone's been so great out here today, but we have one more speaker, so please let's have a warm welcome for Eric from About Face.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for being out here today. My name is Eric, and I am with Southtown About Face. We're a group of post 9/11 veterans opposed to imperial wars abroad and the militarization of U.S. streets here, where they brought the war back home. And I just want to say we are proud members of the Northwest Against Nuclear Weapons Coalition, and we are very, and we are very, very proud to stand alongside PUSO and Tango Migrante as members of the Defend Migrants Alliance. So a little about myself. I deployed to Kurdish Iraq in 2004, and I deployed to Afghanistan in 2008. I performed a variety of roles when I was there, and each one of them impressed upon me the moral depravity of war that I was made complicit in. As a casualty liaison in the Kirkuk ICU, we treated mutilated soldiers and civilians alike, children and adults, the elderly, all in between, day and night. The stream of violence was unthinkable. As a supply sergeant for the 10th Mountain Division in Afghanistan, I inventoried every dead soldier's issued personal and issued items within the entire division for that conflict. Some of those soldiers I knew beforehand, they were my friends. And some of those soldiers, none of those soldiers was I unfamiliar with. I knew every single one of them by the end of that process. And you know, I was in a drill and ceremony team with dozens of flight line ceremonies under my belt where I carried the remains of my brothers and sisters to 2 airplanes. Now, from the mountains of Iran, a river of coffins once again flows to Dover Airfield. From our experiences as veterans, we can describe the kind of terror, we can describe the kind of violence that is inevitable in the war of choice. But the scale of the destruction is something beyond my ability to describe to you. The scale of destruction is utterly unimaginable. Last night, the Iranian civilization braced for annihilation in response to a credible threat from the seat of U.S. power. I say without exaggeration that the military actions of the Trump regime have brought the world to the brink of destruction. We can't allow for the possibility of lost generations. We can't allow for the possibility of lost civilizations. And we absolutely cannot allow the loss of our mother planet. U.S. empire has imperiled us all. Enough is enough, and it must be dismantled base by base. And that means the Philippines as well. If you are in the U.S. military or know someone has, everyone should know that you have options. You do not have to deploy. You can stop a deployment. You can file for conscientious ejector status, and you can refuse illegal orders. Come to us or send your loved ones to us. They won't go through it alone. We have people who've done it before. It is possible to defy the empire. Come find us. Google the GI Rights Hotline, and let's just get started. Let's stop this war. No fucking draft. Let's pull this empire apart. We built it. We can tear it apart.
Y'all, not only can soldiers defy illegal orders, but the last time Congress voted to go to war was in the 1940s. Every single order U.S. soldiers have received to go to war for the past 60 years has been illegal. So folks, thank you all so much for being here with us today. We know that there was this 2-week ceasefire announced, but we aren't here for a short-term ceasefire or even a longer ceasefire. We're here for permanent peace, respect for Iranian sovereignty and self-determination of all peoples, U.S. out of the Middle East, U.S. out of everywhere. No boots on the ground, no bombs in the air.
U.S. out of everywhere.
No boots on the ground, no bombs in the air.
U.S. out of everywhere.
No boots on the ground, no bombs in the air.
U.S. out of everywhere.
No boots on the ground, no bombs in the air.
U.S. out of everywhere.
A better world is possible, and I'm looking forward to continuing the fight to build it with all of you. Have a lovely evening, everyone. Take care.